Hi guys, welcome back to LegalEdge through your LLB YouTube channel. How's the Josh, everyone? So pretty much done with the 2026 3-year entrances academic cycle. Yesterday it was DSNLU, PUCET, BBPCET. So you're done with all major LLB entrances, and now before this as well, I was getting a lot of queries. The team was getting a lot of queries that should at all you be taking a gap year for NLSAT, for other LLB entrances. So I'll address all questions on your mind, bugging you. Feel free to drop it in the chat box as well. Ask as many questions as possible. Gap year, I understand, is not an easy decision, and then there are a lot of things which are to be factored in before you decide on to actually taking a gap year. So we'll address all of that one by one, and gradually by the end of this session, I think you'll be much better off in a position to actually decide that you have to give another year to NLSAT, or for that matter, any other law entrance, LLB entrances that you are eyeing at. On that note, let's start. First, foremost, let's start with the question that should I take a gap year? You should essentially be asking is what fundamentally be different over the next 10 months that makes you believe that your result will be different. Now, you'll essentially be, the answer would more or less change depending upon what the current status is. Now, there are broadly two categories. You either appeared for NLSAT 2026, which was conducted this year in last week, April, or you graduated or you are about to graduate. Either of the two scenarios. You have to factor in different parameters depending upon which of the two categories that you fall in. And also adding another layer to it that you could not clear NLSAT 2026 alongside your final year graduation and then you're about to graduate. So it's like A, B, and then A plus B as well. And then come back to this question again that what exactly would be different in the next 10 months from here that fundamentally makes you believe as to why you should take a gap year. Now, for all students who had appeared for NLSAT 2026 but could not clear, have somewhere written, do a very brutal analysis as to why you could not clear 2026. You missed the cutoff by say like X number of percentage, you were not that committed, etc. But do a very thorough analysis. And for all students who are either who graduated or will graduate this year, what is the next step in your career trajectory that you're looking at? So these are two fundamental differences in both the categories. Rest of the parameters that will come to will be applicable to both of these categories. Let's move forward. Now, we'll quickly come to we'll pick up one factor and we'll discuss about it in brief. Any questions, drop it in the chat box. Meanwhile, if you find the session insightful and you feel that this can be of help to any of your friends, family, just go share it with them. Now, what is the opportunity cost here? You will have to consider that are you giving up a job offer? Roughly, is there a postgraduate degree that you want to pursue? Work experience, financial independence. Again, a very important aspect because you have to then commit the next 3 years to study. If you need to assess that are you to fend for your family? Are you to make money because you have to contribute to XYZ things? If financial independence is something which is non-negotiable at this stage, then maybe a gap year, and I'll guide you very objectively. A gap year might not be a wise decision, but if you have the luxury, the scope, the leverage that you do not have to start earning immediately, you can definitely consider a gap year. In fact, first gap year is advisable. You will realize that a year passes by in a jiffy and you do not, and once you'll actually look back, it's much easier to it's much advisable to take a step back now because whatever it is that you'll possibly doing it for the next 40 years of your life. So instead, take that decision now, see how it pans out for you versus never really taking that chance. So the longer you stay on to the train, the it'll get more expensive for you to get down. So your first year gap is advisable, but if at all you will not be able to put up with the uncertainty, you can also consider partial drop, something that will come to in gradually in the slides. So again, factor in all of this, and if the cost of waiting, say like giving another year, is very high, then you need something like a much stronger justification to drop a year, to take a gap year, and then proceed with 27, and then proceed for 27. For all those who appeared for NLSAT 26 but could not clear, be brutally honest, guys. Do that assessment. Was it because you started preparing late? Was it because you could not manage college or work alongside your preparation? You did not have the right guidance and right resources. So, for any competitive examination, while it is extremely important to know what to study, it is also equally important to know what not to study. Was it because that you invested a lot of your time, effort, and energy in a direction that did not fetch you results? Or despite doing everything right, you still weren't competitive enough, which is to say, you did not put in the right amount of effort or practice, or did not gradually stay focused on improving. And then the most important part, if you don't think that this will change over the next 10 months, then your result will not change, and you probably should not consider taking a gap year. So, say gap year does not guarantee you success, or never guarantees selection. A gap year is another opportunity for you to rectify all mistakes that you possibly think you did, and then improve upon the same and ensure that you get the seat that you missed out on because of XYZ reasons. Let's come to another. What will change during this gap year is another important question that you have to consider. Now, gap year is worthwhile if you think that a full-time preparation will help you stay more focused, and that you could not balance your college and work alongside preparation. Better guidance, better mentorship, you have a structured study plan, a more disciplined routine, and above all, you'll put in the effort to study right, to solve more mock tests, to put in those hours. Believe me, for all those considering a gap year and study harder will not make sense until unless you have a solid plan in place. Next, can you stay motivated for, let's say, the next 10 months? So while realistically ask yourself that can you actually put up with the psychological pressure and deal with the gap year? Because you might just start off high on adrenaline, it'll be a burst of motivation which will fizzle out. So try and focus on building a very consistent routine that you'll be able to sustain over, say, like the next 10 months. And it's not a burst of spurt of energy that will eventually fizzle out, and then you'll slowly quit and not focus on it. So, very important question. Consistency is something that will pay off. And if you can dedicate your time without getting distracted only to preparing for NLSAT, or for that matter, any LLB entrance that you're targeting. I think, again, can you handle the psychological pressure? All those deadlines, family asking questions, you'll attend family functions, you'll see your friends posting on Instagram, you'll see your friends partying, you'll see your family, etc. Will you be able to deal with that psychological pressure? Will you be able to deal with what if I fail again? Or what if it does not fetch me the results that I'm looking at? Make an objective decision. And I think in instances like these, it's very important to discuss it with your family, to discuss it with your mentors, and then decide. And mostly these are your anchors who help you get through and help you deal with the psychological pressure. Have a plan B. What if NLSAT 2027 does not work out? Now, this is slightly treacherous. That's because I always suggest my students that work as if this is the only thing that you've got, and this or nothing. But I understand the kind of pressure on your shoulders, more so specifically in a gap year. So it's okay, because then target a bucket of examinations. You'll be slightly more relaxed, because then you'll know that You'll have something to hold on to. So, more so specifically in a gap year, consider that if not this, what possibly can. But that by no means should be an excuse to you for you to not put in your 100%. कि यार ये नहीं तो कुछ और तो हो जाएगा. But yes, plan B should less of plan B should not be a reason for you to not put in efforts, but plan B should be like that little relief in moments wherein the pressure is too much to deal with. You resort to it more like an escape that it's okay, I'll get through. If not, the worst case scenario is still a very good option. Very important, guys. Don't settle and choose deliberately. Ask yourself a couple of difficult questions. Are you joining a college like either right after graduation or because you could not clear NLSAT 2026, because you have to go somewhere, because you will not be able to answer your family members questions like beta kya kar rahe ho, what next, etc. Everyone else is moving on. You're scared that your friends would be partying, they'll be posting pictures, you'll see Instagram stories and you won't be able to post anything. It's the only offer that I have. Ask your questions like, will you be actually excited to study for the next 3 years? It could be anything, any random college that you are taking admission. If you're planning masters in the discipline that you did your undergrad, MBA, government jobs, anything, make it a point that you will stay motivated enough to do it. Plus, instead of it's better to give it another chance than settling for any random college, because while no college on this planet guarantees placement, what a good college does is it amplifies your access to opportunities. And talent without platform is as good as not having any. So it's very important that you have access to right resources and right platforms and right opportunities. And in such a scenario, a good college becomes extremely important, because what it does, you will have better opportunities, you will have your access, you will have more access to such opportunities. So don't settle for any random college. If at all, give yourself another chance and make it to a tier one top college. Very important. Will this college open the doors I want? You want to make, say, like X number of X amount of money. You want to have access, you want to do X, Y, Z things. Consider that will this college give you access to those opportunities or not? Am I choosing this because it's the right fit or because I'm afraid to wait? You're afraid to take that chance and do it again. Very important. A year can be recovered. The wrong career decision is much harder to undo. So just remind yourself that a gap year is not always the answer, but neither is settling for a college you don't truly believe in. Make the decision intentionally, objectively, consider all factors, not emotionally. But do look at, say, for instance, if you want to earn graduates from tier graduates from NLS entering into tier one law firms make anything between, say, like 19 to 23 lakhs. If those are the kind of opportunities that you're looking for, you need the right resources, right platforms. So make it a point that your decision is objective. You've considered all of these metrics and then moving forward. I'll just quickly summarize a little about NLSAT. NLSAT is exam for NLSIU Bangalore, India's most premier institute, and it's a dream law school for a lot of aspirants. Offers both 5 year law and 3 year law, huge alumni base. In fact, if you'll actually go onto the LinkedIn page and read, a lot of 3 year LLB graduates are already placed in tier one law firms. Has part A and part B, offline paper, pen and paper, and happens in an offline mode. Part A has 75 questions, objective in nature. Part B has 6 questions, 5 case studies, one analytical essay. Then +1 for each correct answer, and for case studies, 12 marks for each case study and 15 marks for analytical essay. One of those interesting papers that has a negative for not just incorrect but unattempted questions as well. And your syllabus is CR, English, GK. Legal per se is not a part of the syllabus, but it helps you have like a thorough understanding of basic legal principles and concepts, helps you a lot in part B, case studies. So that was like a gist about NLSAT. You can watch more videos on the YouTube channel, strategy about NLSAT, how to prepare, how to structure your gap year, etc. I just conclude with one thing, that it's okay Give your dream another chance. Just consider all of those metrics, discuss it with your family, discuss it with your mentors, and start preparing. It's about the right time to start preparing for NLSAT and then appear for the exam next year. I wish each one of you all the luck. Please, if the session was insightful, do like, comment, subscribe, share your thoughts, suggestions, and all the best. Looking forward to each one of you making it to either your dream law schools or whatever it is that you're next targeting in your career trajectory. All the best, guys.
हेलो 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 हेलो। कन्फ्यूजन तुमको बुला लीजिए ना, तो ऑलरेडी लेट हो रहा है, क्लास का टाइम था 6 बजे। 6:10 नहीं हो गया यार। हम्म। हम्म। क्या हुआ? अरे बहुत लेट हो रहा है, इतनी देर मतलब ऑलमोस्ट सब सेशन खत्म।